Let's be honest, we've all been there. You're on a team, you've poured months, maybe even years into a project, and then it just doesn't land. So what went wrong? Well, a lot of the time it comes down to one big blind spot. We think we know our users, but do we really? Let's talk about how to fix that. I mean, this is the million-dollar question, right? You can look at all the data, all the clicks, all the analytics in the world, but what is actually going on inside their head? What gets them excited? What keeps them up at night? Getting this wrong is frankly super expensive, but getting it right, that's the secret sauce to building things that people genuinely connect with. So here's our game plan for this explainer. We're going to kick things off by talking about a huge pitfall I call the Great Assumption Gap. Then I'll introduce you to a seriously cool tool to fix it, the empathy map. We'll walk through how to actually use it, clarify how it's different from a user persona, and then wrap up by digging into why this simple tool is so darn powerful. All right, first up, the Great Assumption Gap. This is that tricky, kind of dangerous space between what our team thinks our users want and what they actually need. It's where all our own biases and bright ideas live, and, it's probably the #1 reason why even the best laid plans can completely miss the mark. And this really gets to the core of it. So many businesses are essentially flying blind, building things based on what they assume to be true. But if you're not actively trying to understand your user, you end up building features nobody asked for and solving problems that don't exist. And that's just a massive waste of time, money, and honestly, team spirit. So, how do we get out of this guessing game? Well, the answer is a surprisingly simple but incredibly effective tool called an empathy map. Its whole reason for being is to get us out of our own heads and force us to look at the world from our user's perspective. So what is it really? Well, think of an empathy map as a team whiteboard session. It's a way to visually capture what we know about a user. It pushes us past the boring demographics to focus on what they're actually thinking, feeling, and doing. It's all about building a shared picture so that everyone on the team is designing for the same person. I absolutely love this quote from Alberta Health Services because it just nails the whole idea. It's not about sitting back and analyzing data. It's about vicariously walking in their shoes, really trying to feel what it's like to be them. Okay, so we get the why. We know an empathy map is important. But how does it actually work? Let's pop the hood and take a look at the framework itself. This is how we get a peek inside the customer's mind. And here it is. This is the basic canvas. Now, I know what you're thinking. It looks almost too simple, right? But that's the genius of it. This simple layout forces us to think about a user's world in a really structured way by breaking it down into a few key quadrants. Let's see what they are. So you can basically split the map into two halves. On the left, you've got the external, observable stuff. What do they see around them, in their social media feeds, in the news? What do they hear from their friends, their boss, from influencers? And what are they actually out there saying and doing? Now, on the right side is where we get to the really juicy stuff, their internal world. What are they truly thinking and feeling? What are the worries they don't say out loud? What are they secretly hoping for? And all of that thinking and feeling leads us down here to the core motivations. Everything gets boiled down into two super important categories: pains and gains. Pains are all about their fears, frustrations, and obstacles. Gains are all about their wants, their needs, and what success looks like to them. Honestly, understanding this is where the magic happens. This is where you uncover the real opportunities to make a difference. And the process for making one, it's really just 4 steps. First, you get crystal clear on who you're focusing on. Then, and this is so important, you gather real data. This isn't a creative writing project. You need actual interviews and observations. After that, the team gets together and fills out the map with sticky notes. And finally, you all stand back and look for the patterns, the surprises, the insights that will guide your next steps. Now, if you've been in the world of design or marketing for a while, a little alarm bell might be going off. You might be thinking, hey, wait a minute, isn't this just a user persona? It's a super common question, but they are actually 2 different tools that do 2 different jobs. So here's the simplest way to think about it. A user persona is all about the who. It's like a character bio. It gives you their background, their goals, a general profile. An empathy map, on the other hand, is all about the what. It's like a single scene from that character's life. It zooms in on what they're experiencing in a very specific moment. This table lays it all out pretty clearly. A persona helps you figure out who to market to. An empathy map helps you design an experience that actually feels right to that person. That's why the smartest teams don't choose one over the other. They use them together. The persona builds the character, and the empathy map puts you right inside that character's head. It's a powerful 1-2 punch. Okay, so let's bring it all home. Let's talk about the real power of empathy. Why does this simple little map have such a huge impact on how teams work and what they create? This quote from a healthcare provider just says it all, doesn't it? This is that aha moment. This is what empathy mapping is all about. It just shatters your assumptions. You can sit in a meeting room all day and think you know your user, but when you actually map out their reality, you're forced to trade in your guesswork for genuine human understanding. And the benefits of that aha moment are massive. Suddenly, you're uncovering needs that would never show up in a spreadsheet. You get your entire team, from engineers to marketers, all seeing the user through the same lens. And that alignment, it's priceless. It closes that assumption gap we talked about and lets you build things that people really connect with. So look, if you take just one thing away today, let it be this. Empathy is not some fluffy, nice-to-have soft skill. It's a core, strategic tool. It is the absolute foundation of great design, great products, and great solutions that actually work for people. So I'll leave you with this question to chew on. Thinking about your own work, what is one big assumption that you and your team hold about your customers? And more importantly, what's one small step you can take this week to go out and challenge it? Because that's where the real magic begins.